Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at the Flowmaster Flow-FX dual side exit exhaust with black tips for 2015 to 2020 5-liter F-150s. An exhaust can really make or break the driving experience of your truck. So if you're looking for a way to upgrade your truck's sound and performance in a way that's noticeable but not too over the top, then this Flow-FX system is going to appeal to you. This one combines a slick dual exhaust setup with a more subtle version of that classic Flowmaster sound at an affordable price point, so it's perfect for a daily driven truck. Now, Flowmaster exhaust and a big V8 is a classic combination, but especially with that Coyote engine, it's easy to go overboard on noise. So if you want that classic Flowmaster look and sound, but you don't want to go around rattling windows or getting your neighbors irritated, then the Flow-FX is going to be for you. Coming in at a 2 out of 5 on our loudness meter, this one is unlike a lot of other exhausts in that it really isn't super loud. As you heard from the clips at the beginning of the video, you do get that nice deep V8 soundtrack when you really get into it, but at idle or even just cruising around, the sound is much more mild and relatively unobtrusive. It's a moderate step up from the stock system. Now, of course, there is going to be a difference in volume in tone versus that stock system. Not so little that you won't notice it, it's definitely there. Now, inside the cabin, since you are upgrading the exhaust, of course, you are going to get more sound than you would with the stock system. But it won't be so much so that you can't carry on a conversation, and you're not going to get tons of drone either. So for a daily driven truck or one that sees a lot of highway miles, that's a really great benefit. You're going to get the sound you want without some of the annoyances that often come with aftermarket exhausts. Now, although Flowmaster calls the Flow-FX muffler a straight-through unit, you can see that there are some baffles in here. Hence that more mild tone. You don't get a whole lot of resonance coming out of this too, so it's going to keep things in check. This is going to be much more subdued as compared to something like their Outlaw series. So it's going to contribute to keeping drone at bay, helping make for a much more pleasant drive without too much noise. Now, construction here is all 409 grade stainless steel, so you're going to get some good rust and corrosion protection, though not quite as much as T304 stainless. However, you also don't get the price of T304, but more on that in a moment. And the piping here is all mandrel bent tubing, 3 inches in diameter going in front of the muffler and 2.5-inch piping running out to those tips. So that means you're going to get really good exhaust flow, and it's going to help reduce back pressure as well. Now, the rear sections here are also designed to perfectly clear the spare tire underneath of your truck, so you don't need to do any modifications, don't need to leave the spare at home or in the bed of the truck either. And since these exit out the sides behind the rear tires, they're going to keep exhaust gases away from whatever you might be towing behind you. Plus, I think that's just kind of a cool look. And that's also due in no small part to the tips. These are dual wall rolled 4.5-inch tips. Now, these are made from T304 stainless steel, and they're finished in this black ceramic coating. So not only do they look great, they're also going to stand the test of the time, and this is the part that you're going to see the most. Now, pricing for this system is another big selling point in my book, folks, as it comes in at about $800. While it's not the cheapest system out there, it does far undercut a lot of other options for these trucks, and it's really not bad for an aftermarket dual side exit exhaust. I do think that this one is worth the price. You're saving a bit versus a full T304 grade stainless setup, but it's still a good quality system, and it's going to sound better than stock, plus avoid some of the drone issues that some cheaper exhausts may have. Now, installation for this one will get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and it should take you about 2 hours to get done, pretty much standard exhaust fare. Now, everything you need is included in the box, including an exhaust hanger for the left-hand side of the truck to get that second tailpipe section on. You also get an extension in the kit should you need the extra length to accommodate for a larger cab or bed length. And instructions on which trucks need it are in the box as well. Overall, this is a pretty simple system. It's totally bolt-on, and it's going to utilize all your stock exhaust hangers, and the one that it doesn't have, it does come right there in the kit, and it just bolts right on. This is certainly a job that you can accomplish at home in your garage or in your driveway. And with that, let's head over to the install bay and we'll walk you through the process.
The tools you'll need for this project is a hanger removal tool, a 15mm wrench, a universal joint, a 13mm, a 14mm, and a 15mm socket, an impact gun, some spray lube, a cloth, and a pry bar. Hi everyone, today we're installing an exhaust on our 2018 F-150, but before we do that, let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock system, and we'll see you right back here when you're done.
So first step here for our install, we're gonna grab our 13mm socket on the U-joint. We're gonna loosen up the flange up near our catalytic converters, and that will basically let our exhaust sit in the exhaust hanger isolator. So at that point, all we're gonna do is lubricate them, slide the whole thing back, and since we're on a lift, we'll be able to pull the whole exhaust out in one piece. Now, if you are working on the ground, you won't have as much room as I do. You might have to make a couple cuts to get this out, but it's just as simple as that. So this one is a little bit tough to get to, but it should come right out. And same thing goes with this one. The U-joint here is almost a must if you want to use the impact. If you're using a ratchet, it should clear no problem. So now our exhaust is loose at the front. We just need to lubricate these rubber hanger isolators so we can slide our exhaust back and out. For that, I'm gonna use PB Blaster here. You could use white lithium grease. As you can see, this one has had on it before. So we're just gonna give this a shot here on both sides. So now we can take our exhaust hanger removal tool and we're just gonna work that out. So now we have two more hangers supporting our exhaust, and all we're gonna do for this one right above our muffler is grease it up. For now, you can see it doesn't have that barb at the end, so we're gonna leave this in just to support our exhaust. We're gonna grease up the other one, and then we can slide this whole thing back. So this last one here, right on our tailpipe, again, we're just gonna hit it with some PB Blaster. And again, this doesn't have the barb on it either. So now we should be good to push this whole exhaust back and pull it off of our truck.
So our first step is going to be to connect our front pipe with the flange to our existing flange on our stock exhaust system, using the two 3/8" bolts that came with the kit. Now we want to install a flat washer on our bolt first and slide it through both of the flanges. Then install another flat washer, a lock washer, and the other nut. Now at this point, I would recommend snugging these up with a 14mm socket and a 14mm wrench, just to hold it in place while we finish up the rest of the install. Now we can go ahead and slip our clamp over our muffler and slide it onto our front pipe. Now at this point we can go ahead and snug down our clamp with our 15mm socket. So because we're on a lift and we're up rather high, we've used a pole jack to support our exhaust system until we get the right side tailpipe installed. Now we go ahead and slip our clamp onto our muffler and then slide our over the axle pipe into the muffler and into our rear hanger. Now we can go ahead and slip our muffler clamp onto our tailpipe and slip it into our over the axle pipe. Now we can snug that down with our 15mm socket. Now we go ahead and slide our tip on. And snug it down using our 14mm socket. Now we can go ahead and slide our muffler clamp onto the overaxle pipe and making sure that the hanger arm points towards the front of the truck and goes into the stock hanger. And we're going to go ahead and install our isolator on our tailpipe. And then our last hanger, we're going to insert that as well. And we're going to place this bolt through this hole right here. And that'll hold our tailpipe up. Now we can install our clamp over our tailpipe and slide it up into our overaxle pipe. And you want to snug this down with your 15mm socket to keep it from falling off while you install the hanger. Now we can install our 4-inch long bolt along with our flat square washer, a regular flat washer, a lock washer, and the nut through the bottom hole. Now we can slide the clamp over our L pipe, onto our tailpipe, and snug it up with our 15mm socket so we can install the tip. Now we can go ahead and install our tip. Making sure our angle is where we want it, and snug it up with a 14mm socket. Now we can go through and do our final adjustments, make sure everything is where we want it, and tighten everything up. And that wraps up our review and install of the Flowmaster FlowFX dual exhaust system with black tips and side exit for the 15 to 20 F-150 with the 5.0. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.